This is the Kia Ceed, and it's been around for a couple of years now, but it's now available with an all-new engine. Yes. Well, I thought it was a good idea anyway to get behind the wheel of the Kia Ceed and see how it compares to its rivals. We've been driving some of the more premium competition recently, like the Volkswagen Golf and BMW 1 Series, and it'd be good to see how the Ceed stacks up. But before I get into this in-depth review, remember to hit the like button and subscribe for more awesome videos just like this one. Behold, the big new feature of the 2021 Kia Ceed. It's a 1.5 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine badged the TGDI, which stands for Turbo Gasoline Direct Injection and not, well, diesel. Now, it produces 158 brake horsepower, which is 20 more than what you got on the old 1.4 litre petrol engine that this replaces, and goes from 0 to 60 in a blistering 8.3 seconds, which is very fast. Of course, there are other engines in the range as well. You've also got a 1 litre petrol and a 1.6 litre petrol as well, the latter producing 201 brake horsepower, which is very sporty. And there's also a 1.6 litre diesel, which is mated up to a 48 volt mild hybrid system to reduce emissions. Now, all cars come as front wheel drive, but you do get a selection of either a 6-speed manual or a 7-speed DCT automatic. Of course, there are plenty of trim levels to choose from that you can pair up with the engine of your choice. Now, the car I'm in is the GT line, which is near the top of the range, so we've got most of the options ticked. Let's start off with this 10.25-inch infotainment system that's running the company's latest software, and it's super stylish. It's pretty sharp, and it's more responsive than a lot of its rivals. You also get some physical buttons beneath it as well, which is a huge plus because they're much easier to use when driving than the touch panels that are available today. And that goes for the steering wheel as well, which is a beautiful design and is really lovely to hold, particularly with this perforated leather. Heated seats and a heated steering wheel are available, as well as a rear-facing camera, which is actually available on all models, and that's an absolute must in 2021. Trim levels chop and change all the time though, but every car gets analog instruments accompanied by that small little digital display in the center. A basic 8-inch display is available on the base Spec 2 model, but pretty much everything above that will get the 10.25-inch panel. And most importantly, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are thrown in for free. It's not the most exciting place to be, admittedly, and you don't get a virtual cockpit, which really can elevate an interior. And Kia knows how to do them. If you click the link in the top right-hand corner, you can watch my video on the Kia Sorento, which comes with an awesome virtual cockpit. Now, build quality is pretty good. Sure, the design's a bit lackluster, but the key thing is all the plastic bits that aren't that nice aren't in areas that you're going to be touching, so it's mainly around here in the center console and a bit on the dash. Everything else, like the gear lever and also this steering wheel, are spot on. In the back, head and legroom is pretty decent. It's definitely better than something like a BMW 1 Series, but maybe a Golf is just a little bit better. And in terms of boot space, you've got 395 litres, which is bigger than both the Golf and a Ford Focus, but it's still smaller than a Skoda Octavia. But nothing beats a Skoda Octavia. Sure, it's not as nice as some of its more premium rivals. A Golf and a 1 Series is a bit nicer up front, but they're also quite a bit more expensive. And this is head and shoulders above something like a Vauxhall Astra, and I'd argue it's actually a bit nicer than a Focus up front as well, particularly in terms of technology. We're looking at £20,000 to start things off, and it goes all the way up to under 30 for the absolute range topper. And to sweeten the deal, every car comes with a 7-year warranty. A bit like the interior, Kia has kind of played it safe with the exterior design of the Ceed, but that's by no means a bad thing. Not everybody wants to drive a big, shouty, stylish car, but you have this really sleek looking tiger nose grille, which you see on a lot of Kias today. The lights, standard halogens on here, but the further up you go, you can also get LEDs as well. 17-inch rims on this GT line. You can get 16s on the entry-level models. 18s are available too, and we've also got privacy glass back here, because if you're a wannabe chauffeur but you can't afford something like a Mercedes S-Class, then just use a Kia Ceed instead. So the big new feature that we've got here is this new 1.5 litre motor. No, it's not performance focused, so we're not going to be talking about throttle response or peak torque and power. It's more about how does it drive as an everyday car. And it's actually a really good little engine. So the big thing that actually really surprises me about it is how refined and quiet it is. I often find that some motors in the Kia range, and also ones that you find on Hyundai because they're joined at the hip, can be a little bit clattery, even the petrols. But this thing is silky smooth. There's some noise from the motor, but not a lot. Doesn't feel unrefined or even particularly whiny. It's all suppressed really well, so that when you do need to get a bit of a move on to get up to motorway speeds or whatever, it'll do so comfortably and in a relaxed way. I said I wasn't going to talk about peak power or torque, but here we are, I'm just about to go and do it. This motor is really quite surprising in the way that it picks up pace. So it's quite torquey. You feel like when you put your foot down that it doesn't really do anything, but then it suddenly wakes up, the turbo spins up, and you get a nice little burst of power. Maybe a flurry of power, not a proper shove, but enough to get a move on. It's quite economical as well. So I've found that if I'm cruising along the motorway, I'm getting north of 45 mpg. And with a mixed route, I'm getting kind of in the really high 30s, low 40s. And bearing in mind we've got no hybrid assistance in here, that's not too bad. And when I've been driving it on kind of country roads, I've not been ultra smooth and ultra conservative. I have been trying to have fun. But can you have fun in a Kia Ceed? You can try. So this one has the 6-speed manual, and that is the gateway to proper performance driving and being a driving enthusiast. But in all fairness, if I were you, I would stick with the DCT option because it just doesn't really suit a car like this. Yes, it's there. Yes, it's great to have control over my own gears, but it's a bit like a Skoda Octavia that I drove really recently that's got a very kind of flimsy and floppy gearbox that does the job, but I would just rather the DCT and not have to worry about it. This isn't a performance car, it's not meant to be engaging, you just want it to be relaxing and easy, so I'd get the DCT, even though it's just a smidgen more expensive. If you want an everyday hatchback that you would want to go and drive, I think something like a Focus would be better, although I think this does feel a little bit nicer than a Golf. And you can watch my review of the Golf GTE by clicking the link in the top right hand corner. Now you've got a little bit of tech in here as well, so not only do we have cruise control, which you kind of expect at this price range really, but we also have a lane keep assist. So that works in conjunction with a lane departure warning system, so if you're at lower speeds and you cross over a white line, it'll beep at you. But lane keep assist, what it does is it means that when I've got the cruise control activated, it keeps the car within the white lines. It's not the best system I've used. There are definitely ones that are more active, but not everybody likes that. Sometimes people want something where they just feel like they're in control and the car only takes over pretty much at the last minute. And that's kind of what the Ceed is like. I think I'd find it difficult to choose between this and its rivals though, because if you compared it with something like a Focus, which is a little bit nicer to drive, although I would say that I think I prefer the interior of the Kia. It really is that good, and I prefer the tech of the Kia as well. It's about on par with the Focus in terms of quality. It's nicer than an Astra, maybe not quite on the level of a Golf, but it doesn't cost as much as a Golf either, and it's much cheaper than a 1 Series, that's for sure. So with a new engine and a decent feature list, the Ceed is definitely worth considering, but now might be a great time to head over to YesAuto.com to see if you can pick up a deal on a new or used Ceed, because we've seen camouflage Ceeds currently undergoing testing, suggesting that there may be a facelifted version on the horizon.